Hi mappers, it's a Sunday. It's very hot here where I live. So I fled into the basement and I will do some suburban pedestrian mapping today. So I loaded a bit of data in the suburbs, not too far from where I live. See, this is the Salt Lake City area, so it's this southeastern sort of edge of the Salt Lake Valley. A suburb called Sandy City. It's technically a city. To me, it's all suburbs. So a few things of note here that I see. There is hardly any mapping of any sidewalks here, crossings. I like to add those things so people on foot can navigate the area safely and know where to cross the street, especially sort of busy streets like here. So there you see there's no intersection, no crossings mapped at all. Actually, I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to see if these pedestrian or if these residential roads have sidewalks tagging connected to them. So let me go into the preferences and into paint styles, see if there's anything that I can use. You see there I have a few paint styles enabled, the default Johnson paint style, but also the Tiger reviewed equals no, which makes the roads that still have Tiger reviewed equals no on them have a sort of an olive colored casing. You can see that here, for example. So this one still has Tiger reviewed equals no, so we can look at those as well. But for now, I'm interested in the lane and road attributes one that basically gives me the stuff like this, where you can see whether the roads have lanes defined on them and bike lanes as well. Cycleway equals lane, etc. Now I wanted to look at sidewalks. Let's see. What does this do? Sidewalks plus, sidewalks and footways. So let's try this one first. See what it does. Nothing. So what happens if I add a sidewalk both to this? Oh yeah, so they just show up then. Okay, so that's useful. I'm going to leave that on, but it also immediately shows me that none of these roads actually have that kind of tagging. So undo that. So I'm going to leave that on. That's a good one actually. So for sidewalk tagging, you can do two things, right? You can actually map the sidewalk geometries. You can see those here clearly on the map. They show up on the Maxar map as well. And or you can do sidewalk equals left, sidewalk equals right, or sidewalk equals both. So that's a sort of a maybe less precise but quicker way to do it. I like to add the geometry just because sidewalks have a tendency to suddenly sort of stop in the middle of nowhere in this town, and then it's clear that those things are that those geometries are correctly in place. So I'm going to do a little bit of both probably. So I'm going to start with the usual way. I'm going to just usually I start at a corner and just going to make my way up. Here it's kind of hidden underneath some trees. I can switch to, no, it's the same on Maxar imagery. So then I just kind of, oops, that's not how it's supposed to go. So sometimes I get real precise. It makes it go really slow. But I like to be precise. you see that I kind of just follow the sidewalk as it snakes around the neighborhood. And then eventually you'll just kind of end up back where you came from. And then later I'll put in the crossings. These are a pain in the you know what, because you have to go around. That takes a lot of precision. So this is why I sometimes like to do this in ID, because ID is this nifty little thing where you have to, where if you kind of move your cursor along a road, you can just press space to add a node instead of click the mouse, which can really speed things up, this drawing. And I wish there was a way to do that in JOSM. I don't know of any. So you can see that we're quite a ways removed from where we started, but eventually we'll end up where we started, and I'll be a little less precise here. And then we can just close the way. I mean, of course, this is not necessary. So here we get close to a existing kind of roughly drawn parking lot polygon. So what I do then is I press Control so it doesn't snap. It doesn't snap or connect to the to this polygon, because I want those things to be separate. So if you press Control, so here let me go back. So if you don't press Control, you can see this kind of, it wants to snap. So if you click here, see, it will snap to the polygon, and it's not what I want. So instead, if you keep Control, your Control key pressed down, it won't try and do that. Oops. So here actually it sort of naturally ends. There's a crossing here, so I want to map that separate. So here I'm going to do is just do a footway, sidewalk, and I usually do surface concrete because that's what it is around here. You can see those light gray sidewalks are pretty much always concrete. I guess I should put segregated here. I don't know what that means. Let me look that up real quick. Let me pull up a browser window. Sidewalk segregated. OpenStreetMap, which usually gets me to the right wiki page. Segregated. I mean, it's pretty much obvious that it's segregated because it's a separate geometry, but designated. Oh, this is not for. This is different. This is to define if the bicycle and pedestrian sharing the same geometry have a segregated sort of lane on them. So that's not what I'm looking for. So what happens if I do this? What tags are being added? Let's see. Segregated, yes. No, that's not what I want, so I'm going to delete that. I usually don't do this, so I'm just going to leave it there. Okay. This got a different. This is a different shape now because I have that new paint style, I guess. Cool. Okay, so now we have this piece of sidewalk. Of course, it's sort of not. It's not complete. It's not. It doesn't have to be a closed polygon or a closed way, of course. I'm just going to continue in the other direction. So these I usually just kind of continue, these service roads. I just usually don't bother stopping at those because there's often too many of them. But if there's an actual crossing that needs to be marked as such, I usually just stop and mark those separately. Okay. Is this a sidewalk still? Actually isn't. This kind of just stops here. Okay, so here you see we kind of got together. This is some marked. So here, what I do is to keep going with the same line, but make it be a new way. I press Alt, and it will have this little. It will start a new way instead of continuing with the same way. So you can easily. Oops. so you can easily give it different tags. So here I go. Footway, sidewalk. No. I'm a little rusty here. Footway, crossing, yes. And then I do crossing marked. Okay, so I can upload this. Adding sidewalk. Okay. Now that I'm doing this, I could as well do this crossing here as well. Okay. And then I'm going to just continue with this sidewalk here. Okay. Oops. So you cannot. So some people, what I've seen some people do is have the viewport following the mouse clicks. I find that really, it can be quicker, but I tend to not use it very much. It's just, what's this? Okay, this is actually a road, so I need to make sure that I make that crossing, because once you get used to it, I guess this can be good, but it's easier to miss stuff like this, where this needs to connect. So I don't like it. I'm gonna turn this off again. Viewport following. Okay. So this is a lot of work, doing this for an entire neighborhood. So I can see what you want to do instead. You want to do the sidewalk tagging on the roads themselves, on the main roads. Surface, concrete. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like doing it this way. It's a personal preference. I'll do one more, and then I'm going to move on to doing some tiger review. Sometimes you just have to be creative with the trees. I know it's like I'm 95% sure that this sidewalk continues here underneath these trees. So I'm just gonna run with that. Okay. So here it looks like there's no sidewalk on this side, so this is probably just, I mean, people are probably crossing here. You see here, there's a tactile paving, and there too for the crossing. So I'm just gonna end here. Sidewalk, concrete. I'm just gonna do this. Hit Alt, release Alt, and this is a crossing, footway crossing, and then crossing unmarked. Hit Alt again. Oh, this happens sometimes. So I hit A to switch between. So S gets you into select mode and A gets you into edit mode. But if you hit A twice, you get into this edge snapping mode that I don't like. I find it hardly ever useful. So you hit A again to get out of that. Hit Alt to start a new way. Yeah, I never really have any use for that angle snapping mode. You know, if you draw buildings or other square geometries. Ooh, this road geometry is pretty bad. Yeah, I'll have to fix that later. You just hit Q in JAWSM to square it, after the fact, you know. Hit Control again to make sure this doesn't snap to the land use. Okay. So this is the last one I'll do for now. You know. Oh, the boat. You can see that I'm zoomed in pretty far. That lets me be very precise, but if you don't want to be as precise, you can kind of zoom out a little bit, and so you can move a little faster. I mean, I don't really care. I'm not in a rush to get this done. Okay. So many sidewalks. Oh, someone's parked on the sidewalk here. I always hate that. People do that. Okay, this just seems to dead end here, it looks like. Okay. Sidewalk. Oops, concrete. And then I just used to, I like to put a no exit here because it's just a dead end. Here, there should be here, one here too. Of course, if you're on foot, you can always find a way out. But I mean, for cars, this is useful, of course, because so that they know that there's no exit. Okay. Well, sometimes I have trouble stopping. I just keep going with these sidewalks. They're a lot of fun to do, I think. What's this? Oops. Doesn't seem that there's actually a church here. Is this old? Curious. Let me see if there is oops. So I hit backtick, so the key to the left of the one key on most keyboards, to basically toggle between. If you only have two aerial layers added, like I have Bing and Maxar here, you can just quickly toggle between those by using the backtick key, which I find really useful. If you have multiple, if I would add another, Azure Clarity, for example, so you have to end up cycling through all of them. I mean, it's useful. So I like to kind of have my left hand close to the backtick key because I tend to switch a lot. Okay, so those were the sidewalks. I mean, there's many more to do, obviously, but I wanted to kind of do a few other things as well. Like remove these tiger tags. So what I tend to do, and this you might want to do it differently, of course, is whenever I see a tiger road, I'll look at it, I'll kind of check it with the aerial imagery available, and I just remove all the tiger tags, unless there's one that represents any value, like alternate names, etc. See, this is this validator. Well, I'll go into that a little bit later. I'm ignoring it for now. Okay, I should have uploaded this. Well, let me actually go back, because I don't like to mix different types of edits. Or if I finish sort of an editing, like I just did with the sidewalks, I just finished that part. So I just like to upload that sidewalks and crossings, and it will automatically put in all the aerial imagery that I have here. You can turn that off, but I usually end up using all of it. Okay, so back to the tiger thing. So let me just take this one. So I look at the tiger tags here, and I'm just going to remove all of them if they don't represent any value. Usually I upload that right away. I like to keep my change set small generally, just because it makes it easier for people to review it. Sometimes I see people have huge change sets with lots of different types of edits, and that makes it just really hard to kind of review things. If you see one thing in a change set that kind of makes you want to look at it, and then the change set contains hundreds of things with all these different types of edits, it's kind of hard to know where to look. Okay, so I'm going to do a few of those. High Mesa Drive, so this also you can just go. I really think, I mean, if this import would be happening now, this is interesting. So why is this? If this Tiger import would be happening now, it would have been done very differently, probably. I don't think we would have decided to import this CFCC code, which is sort of the road class, the Tiger road class. A41 was transformed to residential, or mapped to residential, with all the unforeseen consequences of that decision. But I mean, hindsight is 2020. All we can do now is kind of clean it up as best we can. So this is weird. I mean, that this road here sort of goes past this intersection. It doesn't matter because the name remains the same. But we can just combine these two. So I hold Shift and then press C to combine them. And then what I usually like to do is, this is just my preference, is to split them at the intersection by selecting the node and the ways. Well, let me go back and do that. Select the node and the way, and then press B to split the way in those at that location. Yeah, so there's a lot of other stuff we can do here. So this is another unpleasant thing that is, I think, the result of the Tiger import as well. The name_1. Like lots of roads here in Utah have both sort of a normal name and a numeric name, like this, 2320 East. It's a grid system that we use here. So most people will just call it Mountain Ridge Circle, but then some people or some databases might have it as 2320 East. But I'd like to have this as alt name, which is actually the preferred way to do it. And then all this stuff I just remove. See, this is all this name_1 stuff. I mean, technically I should just use south. Then I can just remove all this. I mean, the county, all those prefixes and suffixes, blah blah. Oh no, doesn't do anyone any good, if you ask me. It's still in the history, so if you really want to retrieve it or inspect it, it's still there in the database. Okay, let me find two. I mean, I could do this for hours. It's going to be even more boring than it already is. So I'm not going to do that. I will find a road that has particularly bad geometry, because I think I saw a few of those that were just, especially the ones that still have all the Tiger tags connected to them. They often need some alignment. I thought I had one. Where are my edits? I think I can do this. Yes. So this just selects all the roads that I am the last editor of, if you will. So I can retrace my steps here a little bit and see where that road was that had poor geometry. It was somewhere here. And this all looks fairly okay. I mean, this could use a little bit of cleanup here. Okay, so let's just do this. Okay, so easy. So you can pick up this handle here to add a node real quick. What I also like to do if I do this for a while is I press W to go into refine. I think it's called refining mode, and then you can just if you hit Control, it will just add a node at that location. And if you release Control, it will find the closest node and position it. And when you click, position it under your cursor. So you can get pretty quick at this. Just adding nodes by if you hold Control, you add nodes. If you release Control, you just move the closest node that is there. So you can quickly refine existing roads that way. Kind of like that technique. I use it quite a bit. You can also hit Alt. That will remove a node from the closest node from the geometry that you're editing. So this is a really quick way to kind of add precision, refine existing roads. So you select it, hit W. I think there's also a menu item or a toolbar item that represents that action. So you kind of follow that road along and see if it needs any refining. You can upload that. See, this is that validator warning that says name_1. It's really not recommended to use that. And use alt name instead. There's still a lot of it, probably due to this Tiger import. But sometimes I kind of fix it and sometimes I just ignore it because it's just a never-ending thing. Okay. Here I see some detail. This is kind of actually, I love adding detail to parks. So let me download this complete park. Spend some time on that. This is it's a golf club actually. So I'm not a big expert on mapping golf courses. I know there's a lot of work that you can do on that. This is not my area of expertise, so I'm going to leave those alone. But you could, I mean, I see lots of golf courses that have all these sand traps, etc. Mapped, and I don't know if Justin has any presets for it. Golf fairway. Oh, bunker. I think it's called a sand trap in US parlance. So I mapped the golf thing, but I was really interested in mapping the paths here. I love improving pedestrian stuff because I think people drive too much in this country, and everything we can do to encourage less of that and more pedestrian and more alternative modes of transportation, that is good in my book. Okay, so I'm just gonna make this a service road. It's not a residential road. And I'm going to delete these Tiger tags while I'm at it. Okay, yeah, this is already service. Okay, I didn't see any gates, so let me just start by... Okay, actually, you know what I'll do? I'm gonna upload this. Let me do this in ID. So what I'll do is because I want to show you how much easier it is to kind of add lots of like non-straight geometries in ID. So the quickest way for me, the quickest way I know to do this is to select a road that I'm interested, or in that area, general area. I just hit Shift Control I to pull up that way in OSM, and then I go edit in ID. I need to log in actually. See, now I'm at the same place in ID. Let me actually make sure that I have, because I don't think usually the Maxar is in our area is usually the most up to date, but this golf course seems to have been around for a while, so I'm just going to use Bing because it's the highest resolution. Okay. So why do I prefer ID for this? So I hit 2 to start adding lines, and then what I can do is just start, and then I just hit space. So I don't have to click the mouse as much. It doesn't nearly strain my hand as much. So yeah, it is disconnected, but it's just the way it is. It doesn't continue there. There's all these disconnected paths here, but so you could probably hear me hitting the spacebar on the keyboard. It's so much easier to do it this way, but I have to. Of course, my muscle memory has me right-click to pan, and in ID it's left click and hold to pan the map. Oh, there's my sand trap that I just added. Look at that. Okay, double click. Okay, so I'm just going to do the paths themselves. I'm not going to do the surface types or any of that stuff. By the way, if you're still around, congratulations. This is not meant to be particularly educating or interesting even. It's just I was going to map anyway, so I thought it might as well kind of go online. I'm actually thinking about doing this like once every other week or so. Maybe with a theme. I don't know. Because I map quite a bit anyway, so why not broadcast it? You might ask why broadcast it. Well, no particular reason. Sometimes it's just nice to talk to yourself. Oops. Okay, this path. See, often when it's obscured by trees, you kind of drag down a little bit and see if the path continues beyond the trees, and then you kind of make up where it most likely goes. While it's ground surface is obstructed by the tree cover. Okay. Yeah. I really hope someone figures out a way to do this in JAWSOM. Just hit space too. Oops. Okay, there we go. Hit space to add a node while you're drawing. You still have to click when you want to make an connect to an existing way though. Get a little sloppy here, aren't I? Oh, is that a golf cart? Someone playing? Guess so. Oh, okay, let me go back. Getting a little too sloppy here. I mean, something is better than nothing is always usually my motto when it comes to mapping. It's like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Do the best you can. Someone else will come around and improve on your work. And if they don't, then I guess nobody's interested in that area to begin with. Oops. Okay, this is the last. I think I'm gonna stop after this. And upload. So there's a few warnings here. Always gonna take a moment. This is known, of course. Path is disconnected from others because these are all isolated pieces of infrastructure that are in fact disconnected. 2 points are very close together. Yeah, I can double click on that and I can see. Oh, it's there where I was fumbling a bit ending that road. I'm going to merge those 2 points. It's a good one. 3 routable features only connected to each other. Yeah, that's connected to the isolated roads thing, right? So I'm gonna upload. Oh, let's change that comment, of course. Adding paths on both course. Okay. That is that. Okay. There's a lot more I can do, but I'm gonna leave it at this. I'm gonna do something else and leave you for the day. Thanks for watching. If you have been making it to this point, again, congratulations. I'll do this some other time. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think, not just of me doing this in general, but also if you have any comments on my mapping techniques. I'm very open to feedback, even though I've been doing this for a very long time. That doesn't mean that I'm doing it right always. That's another way. That's another reason I like doing this. I guess get some feedback on my mapping. All right. Well, catch you soon, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.